Join me as I dig into the American Civil War's darkest secrets and see if I can uncover the truths that history has hidden for so long. Before we continue, please like and subscribe to our channel to support our community. The American Civil War, fought between 1861 and 1865, was a pivotal moment in the United States history, shaping the very fabric of the nation. It was a conflict that pitted the Union, the northern states, against the Confederacy, the southern states, over issues like slavery and states' rights. But beyond the familiar narratives of battles and politics, there are dark secrets that have been hidden for far too long. These accounts are filled with intrigue, suspense, and a touch of the supernatural, shedding light on the darker side of war. The American Civil War is known for its intense battles, iconic figures, and profound impact on history. However, there are also unsettling stories that reflect the darker side of war. From the untold stories of the Old West to the shadows of the Civil War, you won't want to miss. These natural formations have long been associated with legends, some even suggesting they were created by a mythical serpent, drawing connections to the biblical figure of the devil. Many who visit Devil's Den report unusual occurrences, such as sudden loss of hill. The haunting of Devil's Den, a key location during the Battle of Gettysburg, has contributed to its reputation as a location of mystery and wounds. Devices that once worked perfectly seem to malfunction unpredictably, creating a sense of apparitions of Union soldiers in full uniform wandering through the rocky outcrop. During the Civil War, many soldiers, especially those who were literate, kept detailed diaries to document their experiences, which served as a means of documentation for the numerous ghostly reports. The battle, known for its high number of casualties, marked a turning point in the conflict and remains the deadliest in American history. Charles, a soldier in the 21st Pennsylvania Cavalry, kept a diary throughout his service. His writings provide a first-hand account of his participation in numerous engagements. After the battle, Charles and his fellow soldiers ventured into the surrounding woods, becoming synonymous with the war. However, one experience stands out vividly in his depiction of conflict. During his service, Charles witnessed many atrocities, and they offered a unique perspective. In that moment, his mouth was filled with his companion's blood and injuries, leaving deep psychological scars. As soldiers had to cope with the situation, but it also provides insight into the unimaginable experiences that men face while hoping to take them both out with a single shot. Interestingly, the bullet was deflected by Sheriff, who found himself with a gruesome and shocking tissue. John C. Calhoun was a prominent American politician in the 19th century, best known for his role as vice president under both John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson. His staunch defense of Southern traditions and values earned him the nickname the Cast Iron Man, due to his unwavering stance on issues such as American history. Calhoun's advocacy for these views contributed to the growing divide between the North and South, setting the stage for the eventual Civil War. He had a vivid dream in which he claimed to have seen a dead man. In his dream, Calhoun recognized George Washington in his military uniform from the Revolutionary War. He was commanding and the first president of the United States. In this vision, Washington was dressed in an otherworldly manner, leaving Calhoun with a sense of awe. The dream took a darker turn when Washington, in an unexpected gesture, left a black mark. The message was clear. Calhoun's role in advocating for secession would be harmed. Washington's warning emphasizes the gravity of disunion, reminding for eternity. This dream and its prophetic warning highlight the intense internal conflict. Despite his personal convictions, the dream suggests a deep moral reckoning that divided him. The story, Angel's Glow, has a surprising, uplifting conclusion. However, there are several historical accounts from the Civil War that describe an unusual phenomenon. During the Battle of Shiloh, soldiers' wounds would sometimes glow with an eerie blue light, sparking the belief that the light was a sign of divine intervention. For over a century, the glowing wounds were dismissed as superstition. Many assumed the light had no scientific basis, and it was accepted as a mystical phenomenon. In the 20th century, the mystery was finally unraveled by an unlikely investigator, an 18-year-old boy who was intrigued by the phenomenon after hearing about it from his mother. The phenomenon was attributed to the chaotic and often unexplained experiences of war. However, in the late, who was studying bioluminescent bacteria. His curiosity led him to connect the historical accounts of Angel's Glow with the possibility of bacteria producing such a light. Together with a friend, the young researcher discovered that the light was not a supernatural sign, but the result of a bacterium known as photorhabdus luminescens. This bacterium, commonly found in soil and known for its bioluminescent properties, would infect soldiers, emitting a faint glow. It also appeared to have a positive effect on the healing process, potentially explaining why soldiers who were affected by it were more likely to survive. The phenomenon of St. Peter's ghost is a fascinating example of nature's healing power. However, those who lived in church in Harper Ferry, West Virginia, played a crucial role in the Civil War by serving as a hospital for wounded soldiers. During the conflict, the church was a safe haven for soldiers from both Union and Confederate sides, with medical staff treating injured individuals regardless of affiliation. The church was well protected, with no artillery or targets being used to preserve its structure. It is said to be haunted by the spirit of a young soldier who died there in a heartbreaking manner. According to the story, a severely injured young man approached the church and requested medical attention from the nurses. However, his wounds were deemed less urgent than those of other soldiers. He waited at the church's entrance, hoping for help, but was overshadowed by others with more serious injuries. The soldier's injuries led to his death, but his final words suggest a sense of peace and acceptance. The idea of a sanctuary for the living and a place where the restless spirit of the past could whisper, "I'm saved," may have helped him receive the treatment he needed. Andersonville Prison, formerly known as Camp Sumter, was a Confederate prison camp in Georgia that became infamous for the harsh conditions faced by Union prisoners of war. Ferguson was one of only 2 individuals from the Civil War to be executed for war crimes. During the war, over 13,000 Union soldiers died in Andersonville due to starvation, dehydration, and disease, similar to those taken in Nazi concentration camps. The environment was deplorable, with neglect, overcrowding, lack of food, and unsanitary conditions, resulting in a constant cycle of suffering. Photographs of survivors and their camps serve as a haunting reminder of the atrocities. Diseases such as dysentery, scurvy, and typhoid fever killed an estimated 100 soldiers per day in Andersonville. Survivors described the prison as a living nightmare, where hope was suffocated and human dignity was stripped away. Many former POWs who survived the camp believe that Andersonville's legacy lives on as a symbol of the tragic consequences of the Civil War. A letter from Major Sullivan Ballou, a Union Army officer, was featured in Ken Burns's acclaimed documentary, The Tragedy of Sullivan Ballou. Ballou's letter, read aloud in the documentary, provided a powerful and emotional portrayal of simple men with basic education. It also revealed that soldiers could be articulate, thoughtful, and deeply emotional, providing insight into their intellect and mindset during the Civil War. This changed how many people viewed soldiers at the time. The letter expresses the writer's gratitude to God and his wife for the memories of their happy times together, as well as his sadness about not being able to fulfill his hopes for the future. The letter also expresses the writer's desire to see his sons grow into honorable men. Ballou's heartfelt message has become a symbol of many soldiers' emotional struggles. 1 week after writing the letter, Major Ballou died in the first battle. Ballou's words contrasted with the often brutal and tragic fate that soldiers faced, illustrating the personal sacrifices behind the uniform. The eloquence and of Bull Run, where he was severely wounded. A cannonball tore through his right leg, and despite efforts to save him, he succumbed to his injuries. The aftermath of his death was marked by an even greater tragedy. While the details of his emotional life and untimely death are unconfirmed, reports suggest that Confederate soldiers discovered his final resting place and exhumed his body. Unlike most Southern men who supported the Confederacy, Champ Ferguson, a Tennessean, chose to form his own group of like-minded individuals rather than joining the Army and contributing to the cause as a soldier. Ferguson led a self-formed unit that attacked anyone he deemed an enemy. His guerrilla warfare tactics were brutal and ruthless, often targeting civilians suspected of supporting the Union cause. Ferguson's methods were indiscriminate, targeting both men and women, the vulnerable, for example, wounded, elderly, and even after death. While many of Ferguson's actions during the war are shrouded in mystery, certain reports claim that Ferguson sometimes desecrated his victims. Ferguson's conduct during the battle resulted to his arrest and imprisonment for war crimes. He admitted to personally killing over 100 individuals during the conflict. Ferguson's legacy raises questions about the nature of warfare and the morality of guerrilla tactics. His actions contrast sharply with the more traditional and disciplined approach of regular armies, revealing the often chaotic and brutal reality of war. Some consider Ferguson a hero of the Southern cause, while others see him as a symbol of legendary stories from the Civil War, such as Colonel Joshua Chamberlain and his worst impulses that can arise during times of civil strife. Washington was also a leader of the 20th Maine Infantry Regiment during the Battle of Gettysburg. During the Civil War, Regiment played a crucial role in defending the Union line by holding Little Round Top, a key position that prevented a complete Union defeat. Their courageous charge against overwhelming Confederate forces was crucial. However, this heroic episode remains mysterious. During the Revolutionary War, soldiers in Chamberlain's regiment reported seeing an apparition of George Washington, who led the charge. These soldiers believed Washington's ghost provided divine encouragement to the soldiers fighting for survival. When asked about the sighting later, Colonel Chamberlain expressed uncertainty, but acknowledged the psychological impact. He stated, "I have no doubt that it had a tremendous psychological effect in inspiring the men. Doubtless it was a superstition, but who among us can say that's such a thing?" He also acknowledged the possibility that Washington's vision was a mere superstition or psychological phenomenon. He also left room for doubt, implying that the boundary between the physical world and what lies beyond may not be as clear-cut as we assume. The story of Washington's ghost is not just about supernatural intrigue, but also about the psychological strain experienced by soldiers during battle in 1863 in Tennessee and Georgia. The creature's description varies depending on who tells the story, but all versions share one key detail: its glowing green color. In some accounts, Old Green Eyes is described as a towering, ghostly figure in white with a menacing, otherworldly presence. In other stories, the entity is a swamp-like creature with slimy scales and sharp fangs protruding from its mouth. One particularly haunting version tells of a headless soldier wandering the battlefield in search of the head he lost in life, yet still possessing the bright, eerie green eyes that seem to defy logic. The creature known as Eyes is a terrifying figure in local folklore, with glowing green eyes that pierce through the darkness. This creature has been depicted in various versions of the story, including the one that unfolded in Chickamauga. Over 34,000 soldiers died in a brutal 3-day battle, making it one of the bloodiest engagements of the Civil War. The chaos of the battle contributed to a haunting atmosphere in the area, fueling legends. The Civil War was more than just a conflict between soldiers on the battlefield. The stories of Old Green Eyes, with its glowing gaze, may have served as a safe haven for soldiers to process their overwhelming trauma. These stories offer a glimpse into the darker side of a war that forever changed the course of American history. Subscribe for more spine-tingling facts and untold stories from the past. Don't miss out on the next installment, so subscribe now and let's unravel the mysteries of the past together.